Hello, African Diaspora News family. My name is Reneilwe Morema, and I am your host right here on the African Diaspora News channel. I'm reporting live from Johannesburg, South Africa. When you scroll through TikTok, you learn a lot about people and the value they add to the world. And Madeleine Fullard is one of those people. And I know it's kind of weird that on this channel we are giving praises to a white person, but hey, we have to give credit where it's due. There is a woman named Madeleine Fullard, and she is a grave digger. She works for the Missing Persons Task Team, and this task team is a subsidiary of the National Prosecuting Authority of South Africa, and their job is to dig graves or find graves of former anti-apartheid activists who disappeared and were unaccounted for. The time frame they are looking at is around the early 60s to 1994. So these activists went missing when they were detained or arrested by the apartheid police. Now, remember, the police had this routine during apartheid where they would track down these activists or suspected activists, arrest them, torture them to death, and bury them in shallow graves. Now, their families or the family of the victims wouldn't know what happened to their children. They wouldn't know what happened to their uncles, their brothers, and their husbands, all because the white policemen found thrill in hunting down black people and murdering them. Bringing up the incredible work of Madeleine Fullard because of the current climate in South Africa right now, where people like the AfriForum Solidarity Group, Gayton McKenzie, DA, Freedom Front Plus, and the majority of the white supremacists in this country are trying to rewrite history. They are trying to downplay the harrowing, dark history of South Africa, acting like apartheid never happened or acting like it wasn't as severe as we make it out to be. I mean, allowing towns like Orania to exist, to downplay our history, is insulting to what happened to the black people of this country.
If you were 22, 23 years old in 1963 and you were picked up by the apartheid police and they murdered you in some farm somewhere, they did not come back to let any of your family members know what happened to you. There are people whose parents, now think, you were 22, 23 in 1963 or 1964, you vanished. Your parents, obviously older than you, have been waiting to hear what happened to you. By the 80s, they had already made peace with the fact that they're probably not going to see you alive again. Those people, there are people whose parents have died waiting for answers, waiting for at least pointers to their remains, and they've never even known what happened, what the remains are, like where the remains were of their children, their nieces, their nephews, their loved ones. And Madeleine's team, in some instances, very painfully have found remains, because these people's remains, they would be taken by the apartheid police, they would be tortured, and then they would be eradicated, and their remains would be tossed in some unmarked grave. So the reason why the work of the MPTT is ongoing, and it's still going to be ongoing, is because there's faults all over the country. There's pieces of open land all over the country. So they actually have to go across South Africa, which is what they do, finding these remains to bring whoever is left in the family closure. In some instances, they find remains, they do the DNA testing, and they find that the parents of that activist are no longer around. Whoever was next of kin at the time of the person's disappearance, that person has also now passed away. So it's up to, you find that they have to report the finding of these remains to children, to the grandchildren and the younger generation, because the people that actually knew these people, that were waiting for these people or waiting for news of what happened to these people, those people have now passed away. So she actually talks about this. She's written a chapter in this book. The book is called The Road to Democracy, 1960 to 1970. Madeleine Fullard has a chapter on the kind of tactics that the apartheid state used to use. So you don't have to get this very thick and heavy book. You can find out this information if you could just Google Madeleine Fullard, Google MPTT, to find out the work that they do and the history of the work that they do. So she actually says torture and assault had long been part of the South African police repertoire in criminal investigations and general abuse of suspects. But prior to 1960, these tactics had not been widely associated with political detention. This would change during the 1960s. The use of electric shocks and other physical forms of torture in criminal investigations appears to have been fairly widespread. So this was just the business of the day, and it was legal. So they would kidnap people, essentially, abduct people, torture them, and in many instances, kill them. So I don't know if this video is going to get taken down because I'm not using words like unalived and things like that, but the people would be taken, tortured, and then they would be gotten rid of. And then as the apartheid regime, the longer it went on, the more state repression intensified. Then you get things like Vlak Plus. So Vlak Plus, Zetu had a video about it. If you can go back to the creator Zetu, I think we all know who Zetu is. But Zetu had quite a detailed video about Vlak Plus. So during this time, people are being abducted and their remains are being thrown, after they do whatever they do to them, their remains are being thrown in unmarked graves. Then you have things like Vlak Plus also taking place. So Vlak Plus is a farm that is located or was located 20 kilometers outside of Pretoria, and Vlak Plus operated from 1979 to 1993. And I stand to be corrected, but anybody that went to Vlak Plus, that was taken to Vlak Plus, so basically Vlak Plus was a torture and killing field. Any anti-apartheid activist that was taken to Vlak Plus, or anybody suspected of being anti-apartheid that was taken to Vlak Plus, chances are you are not coming back. So some of the things that took place in Vlak Plus was torture and execution, assassination squads, and disposal of bodies. So torture and execution, assassination squads, and disposal of bodies. There is one instance, I forget the lady's name, she was an anti-apartheid activist. She was abducted, taken to Vlak Plus, and when they were done with her, all that could be recovered was a finger. There were bits of her because they blew her up. Apparently they strapped explosives to her, so they blew her up, and there was nothing for the family to bury except for a finger.
This is the kind of history we come from. She speaks of a farm that was used by white policemen to kill and torture black people. Isn't that equal to farm murder? The same farm murders the AfriForum keeps bitching about to the United States. Doesn't that qualify to get justice? They want justice for the white farmers that were murdered. We also want justice for the black people that were tortured and murdered at Vlak Plus, this white farm. I always wondered why a white political party like the DA is always the second largest party in South Africa. And I understand now why it is. Their existence throughout the years was to make way for the current political climate we are facing right now in South Africa. White people make 7.2% of the country's population, and even if it was combined with Indians and coloreds, it still would not be enough to make the DA the second largest political party in South Africa. And the amount of wealthy black people is still not enough to make DA the second largest political party in South Africa, because we all know that black people love voting for the DA once they feel like they're elevated in life. How did they do it? How did the DA remain like this? By propaganda. Make enough noise about the incompetence of the black government. Strategically use the white-owned media to spread hate and create conversations in the black communities about the black government failure. Make sure the bad outweighs the good so people can be oblivious to the growth the black government has achieved since the dawn of democracy. One thing about white people, one thing about them folks, when it comes to propaganda and mind games, shame, they are the best. And that is how DA managed all these years to latch onto the government till they slithered their way into the ruling party of the Government of National Unity. And all of that fact that I just mentioned, mixed with black leaders that have never once fought the apartheid regime, it makes one hell of a concoction. The ultimate betrayal of the black people. Today, when you speak positive about the black government or the black government government's achievement, people say that you don't know anything about politics. People only respond to the bad and call you a good political analyst when you bash the black politicians. That's how far gone the black people of this country are. Of course, the DA is where it is because of that rhetoric. Now, today, Orania exists because of the spineless leaders that are easily bought and can betray the liberation for pennies and nickels. Today, AfriForum, protected by the DA, which has been making way for them for so many years to go boldly to the United States and spread lies about the South African government oppressing and murdering them because what? They fear being equal to blacks, and not just any kind of blacks, the educated blacks that have vast knowledge of the world and have no fear of living in poverty to retain their dignity. They know that if they are equal to this kind of black, they are fucked. Because they know that with us, their privileges will be gone. It will cease to exist. We are not our grandparents where you can just play with us. So thanks to Madeleine, we now know the gruesome hidden details of the apartheid regime and their cruel actions towards black people that the DA and AfriForum are trying so hard to hide. I mean, if the AfriForum wants to play dirty and bring out all the farm murders that took place, we have the right to also approach the NPA to give us justice for all the murders of black people that were killed on that white farm outside Pretoria called the Flag Plus. We have the right to prosecute them for the crimes against humanity, for the unaccounted crimes they have tried so hard to hide. The thousands of souls that have never been taken home to rest in peace that are still lingering at that white farm in Pretoria. We have the right to open a case against them. They claim that we murdered them. They claim that we murdered them even without proof. Then we will provide our own proof. We have Flag Plus. We have those women that were killed by white farmers and fed to the pigs. We have all the proof in the world to prosecute the AfriForum for what they're doing and charge them with crimes against humanity and treason. So the reason why I mentioned DA and the existence of DA and the growth throughout the years is because they have made provision for the AfriForum of this country to be bold and go to the United States and lie. They have been there to protect the white people's interests. They have been there to make sure that the AfriForum has smooth sailing once they spread this propaganda, and to make sure that when they are charged with treason, they will be there as a political party to protect them. That is why I mentioned the DA. When people keep voting for the DA, they don't know that it has long-term consequences. It's just not for today. It's not because they know how to do good service delivery. They know how to deliver good services to communities. That's not true. If you can look at the slums of Cape Town, just outside Cape Town. They know how to take care of the city of Cape Town where white people predominantly reside. But if you can look at the colored areas and the black areas, it's full of nonsense. It is a disgrace. It looks horrible. If you can look at the city of Tshwane, people have not been having water for so many years. The streets are dirty. The Tshwane municipality owns millions of rands to Eskom. Nothing works in Tshwane where the DA won the municipality elections. So you're not voting for the DA because they know good service delivery. No, that's just propaganda that you see on Instagram, the Cape Town life that you see on Instagram. No. You vote for them, you should know that it has long-term effects. They've been planning this to the T. All these white parties have been planning what the AfriForum is doing today. Today, the DA is silent amid the whole AfriForum nonsense going to the United States and spreading lies about it. It's quiet because they have a hand in it. They have been planning it. Someone said it that the Democratic Alliance being part of the GNU is a soft coup. And they have been patient with it. One thing about white people, they are patient, eh? And they can go in it for the long run. They know what they want. And they have no problem being patient and strategically planning for that takeover one day. And we are heading towards it. And you guys keep voting for them because you fail to see beyond. So the country for what it is today, I blame it obviously on the white political parties, but mostly importantly, I blame it on the black political leaders that have never fought for the apartheid regime, and they don't know the day-to-day life and the struggling life of black people. They don't know that because they've never experienced exile under the apartheid regime. They've never been tortured the way Steve Biko, Chris Hani have been tortured. People like Cyril Ramaphosa, his father, Cyril Ramaphosa's father was a police under the apartheid government. He enforced apartheid law on black people as a black person. How do you think Cyril Ramaphosa was able to become a billionaire during the apartheid regime? Where have you ever heard of a black billionaire during the peak of apartheid? Ask yourself that. We are led by people that will betray us for pennies and nickels. We are led by people that have never struggled a day in their life. They don't know what it's like to fight the apartheid regime and be exiled and be away from home. They don't know the pain of those families that waited for their sons and daughters to return, only to find out that the apartheid police have tortured them and killed them and buried them in shallow graves in these white farms. Today, Orania exists because you might find out that since the police used to kill our black people and bury them at different locations, you might find out that our black people's bodies were scattered in Orania. That's why they don't want black people accessing it. That's why they don't want the government even questioning its existence, because they know that they harbor the bodies of our fallen heroes. If you think about it. What do you think about this segment? Comment to us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss these groundbreaking conversations.